RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.
Hi guys, and welcome to the SportsHeads NBA edition, sponsored by RedZoneSports.bet. I'm Tori, and I am hosting today's show alongside Steve.
Cha-ting!
Our Keith Lemon impersonator.
Nice.
And on the far side, we've got Nick.
Hello, hello.
Oh, that was lovely.
Thank you.
So Nick, we're going to go straight into today's show, and I'm feeling like you're looking pretty smug today.
I am.
So the Knicks beat the Cavs this weekend.
We did.
Obviously, the Cavs and the Warriors both have quite a lot of pressure on them, and they're not looking too good to start this season.
Correct.
Is this to do with their defense? Is it because they're an older team? Should they be worried?
Well, I personally would say no. I'm not a big LeBron fan, as you guys will know, as the year continues. But it's a brand new team. You know, a brand new team. There's a lot of new components. In any team, you need time to gel. You have to get it going. I'm not really worried about the Cavs. They'll be there at the end of the season. And don't forget, they have Isaiah Thomas still to bring into the mix. So a month from now, I think we won't be saying the same thing.
See, I completely disagree. I mean, they've had 4 straight home losses now, and you're not going to cut me off at 4 straight home losses. But this is it. They're not playing well at all. You know, admittedly, they're still trying to get going this season, but it seems that every single time LeBron is off the court, that they just struggle. They are almost without a leader every single time he goes out, and he comes back in and says, oh, okay, we need to get the ball to LeBron again. I am really concerned that this Cavs team at the moment cannot function. They've got a really difficult matchup coming up against the Wizards. They've then got home games against Hawks and the Bucks. Yeah, the Hawks are not great, but the Bucks are going to trouble them as well.
For sure.
This losing streak may go on for a fair while yet.
And I would be surprised if it did. But I also do think, come the end of the season, it's they'll get the right, they'll right the ship. If LeBron, he won't put up with losing. I mean, I'll give him that credit. He is a winner. As much as I dislike him, he is a winner, and I'll back him. 7 straight finals appearances. Until that record is broken or until that streak ends, I'm not going to give up.
It does feel though that this season's slightly different. There's been 4 different starting lineups already. Do we feel like they've got their blend together, or are we still waiting to try and find?
I would say we're still waiting. And again, I think that's part of it. I think bringing in all these new players, you are going to get guys in and out. And there's had a couple injuries already. I think Derrick Rose has already missed a bit of time. So it does take time to find the blend and find the mesh. And it's the same in any sport.
Yeah, but I mean, trying to find the right nucleus, is the key. I mean, if you want to talk about like Derrick Rose and injury, I mean, those two things go hand in hand anyway, no matter what uniform he wears.
They do.
But the thing is, they are in the Eastern Conference and they will be a playoff team. It is just a matter of what seeding they are going to have. So I'm not concerned in terms of the fact they're going to make the playoffs, but what I am concerned is what their record will be come the end of the season and how much this team can actually compete in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then, who really is going to threaten them come playoff time in the East? I mean, that's a long season. We'll find out. We'll answer those questions. But for right now, I'm not overly concerned.
Cool. Okay, so obviously I made a point of mentioning the Warriors and the Cavs both have quite a bit of pressure on them. The Warriors are also being talked about at the moment in regards to their focus issues. So Steve Kerr, he came out with the other day, is taking a long-term view on the team's focus issues, explained that his team, should they be bringing the same focus that they did back in June, they'd be burnt out by December, and that their focus should be on the smaller details of the game right now rather than the bigger picture. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, I think, again, you play a different intensity in the playoffs than what you play in the regular season, so you don't want the team going hard every single game. I mean, to compare it to another team in the past, if you was coached by Thibodeau, very much the Bulls players tended to struggle as the season went along because he wants to play every single game like it was the NBA Finals. You can't do that. Yes, this team is there to be shot at because they are the reigning NBA champions, so teams are going to want to try and knock this team off its perch. The focus is maybe a bit of an issue, but I think the bigger issue is the fact that they are really struggling defensively. They can put up a ton of points. We all know that. Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry can put up 100 points between the 3 of them. But it is defensively where they're really, really struggling, and that's something they are going to have to sort out over the course of the regular season.
I agree with that, but I go back to that. I won't worry too much, but the thing that does worry me there, in a 2-game span, they had Durant, Curry, and Draymond ejected. that is something that, I don't know, Steve Kerr, that's not a Steve Kerr team. Again, it's a long season, but maybe you're just winning, breed boredom. I don't know. If, they're such a successful team, a couple losses here doesn't really ruin, the long-term goal. That's why I'm thinking.
No, and I think that's where he's coming, like saying the focus. You've got to be still winning these games as the regular season goes along. And it is very difficult, I think, maybe trying to motivate yourself after winning the championship. I think as well, the poor player Draymond Green as well is really a big issue with this one. He has really got to step up his game. We know full well that he is a part of that championship team, and he will have to be important as his season goes along.
And he will.
He will do. But at the moment, the early signs are a little worrying. I personally am more concerned about the Cavs than I am the Warriors.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's.
But you can't have Curry throwing his mouthpiece at referees and stuff. That's what I think he meant by focus.
It's frustration more than anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got more continuity as well with the Warriors.
You do.
With their lineup, so.
You do.
Yeah, I mean the thing is as well. I mean the Warriors. Yeah, they've got they've been there, seen it, done it. They've got the same they've got the same team pretty much coming back. So therefore, they've got a lot less room for error. Right. In that respect. So as I say, I'm not concerned about the Warriors. It's more so the Cavs that I would really have an issue with.
Staying on with the Warriors right now, I'm just going to go back to Friday's game. So we had Draymond Green and Bradley Beal in their beautiful little pointless scuffle.
Hug-a-thon.
Yeah. I mean, first off, what was that even about? I still don't think they even know. And then obviously the fines came out at the start of this week. Were they fair?
I'm going to stay up
discussion.
I go back to the 80s and 90s basketball where pushing, shoving, physical play was part of the norm. You had to fight to get baskets. Nowadays, you touch a guy and he claims he has a broken wrist or a broken arm. So I think it was much ado about nothing. I wish I knew what was. It did go on a bit long. That was my only concern. But then that's when they had the jersey ripped and stuff, which made it into a bigger issue, I think, than it was. I like to see it personally. I want to see guys in each other's faces, pushing, yelling, screaming.
I think for me, if that's what a hug costs you, $25,000 these days, it's a pretty expensive business in that respect. But I think it's
extra.
It's one of those things. I think it's been kind of blown out of proportion. Teams do get frustrated, players get frustrated with each other. It's not for me necessarily a big issue. I think Draymond Green, as I said, it's got off to a bit of a bad start this year. Maybe he's more so frustrated with his own play, and that's maybe what's led to this. It's going to be an interesting matchup, I think. Warriors and Wizards, Wizards are potentially one of the contenders in the Eastern Conference. I'm not saying that Wizards are going to be a finals team, but they're one of those teams that are going to measure themselves against the Warriors. And so they want to try and get under the Warriors' skin. So that could, again, also be a part of that. I think the fine should have maybe been a bit more equal. I don't necessarily understand the difference in the fines.
So do you think, because obviously Beal came out saying that he doesn't think it was fair, he took it personally. Do we think he was right to take it personal? I mean, if you watch the video, you can quite clearly see he doesn't really want to get involved. Obviously, he then gets a second technical foul and has to go off.
I think it's more a case, I think he feels like he was hard done by the whole situation. And of course, making a comment like that could potentially be used further on down the line, because we're very aware of coaches and players saying things to the media that could potentially be taken into account later on. And I think that's maybe a part of it as well. You wouldn't expect a guy like Bradley Beal to kind of take it on the chin and say, oh, okay, here's my money, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. I don't see that. I think, for him coming out and saying those comments is the right thing for him to do. Whether he's right or not is another matter, but I think the fine should have been across the board.
Yeah, I agree. And also, early in the season, I think the NBA has to set a precedent. You find guys big now. Hopefully that'll stop it going forward.
Okay, interesting one on that one. So next up, we received a question about DeAndre Jordan. Obviously, this has been going on for at least the last 6 weeks, discussions of a contract extension. Do we plan on seeing anything happening anytime soon, or?
I think it's one of those things, the Clippers would like to get it done. They want to get it sorted out. I think the bigger issue here with DeAndre Jordan is the fact that the last time he came up as a free agent, there was a whole big issue around that. I mean, Mavericks fans will never forget that one, because he was, in fact, almost a Dallas Maverick. He kind of almost agreed to go and play with them. He hadn't actually signed the contract. And then the next thing we know, he's actually going to be back with the Clippers again. I think he's kind of taken a step back, because he's looking at his team now. CP3's not there. You know, he's got Blake Griffin, who's now become the leader of his team. They're playing very, very well, the Clippers, right now. I think he's going to bide his time, see how this kind of plays out. And he knows, like any player in the NBA right now, he actually has control over his own contract. He's not like one of the lesser players in the NBA who want to get their contract sorted out as quickly as possible. He knows he's a player in demand, and there are other teams that will want him in that particular team. So I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't drag on and on for a while yet.
Yeah, I completely agree. It will drag on, and I personally don't think he wanted to be there. I think he wanted to go Dallas 2-3 years ago, backed out for whatever reason. Now CP3's gone. Probably wishes he did go to Dallas. But I did write down, I mean, as much as he's leading the league in rebounding. You know what you're going to get with DeAndre Jordan. So if I was the Clippers, I would want to lock him up. But I think for him, he's probably seeing which direction the team's going.
Yeah, I think the thing is, for me, I think had the Clippers decided to move on from CP3 and Blake Griffin, I think DeAndre Jordan would have been the next one potentially out of the door as well.
Agreed.
The complete rebuild. I mean, for me, I thought at the time they did make the wrong decision. I would have maybe cut ties with Blake over CP3, but it's interesting to see what they've done. Blake stepped up his game now, and he's playing tremendously as the season started. So I think the Clippers have made the right decision. I think DeAndre Jordan's making the right decision, but it's just a matter of, are they on the same page? And I'm not so sure about that one.
Yeah, time will tell. That's my answer for everything.
I was going to say that seems to be the common quote. I think at the moment.
That way, I'm not wrong.
So. We're going to be getting to May. Time will tell.
Time will tell. Next season. We got next season.
Next season, everything will come clear.
That's right.
So moving to the 76ers. Obviously, there's rumours that they've mismanaged injuries in the past.
Yes.
We've got Markelle Fultz's shoulder injury. Obviously, he's trying to play through it. His agent came out a couple of days ago saying originally that he'd had fluid drained from his shoulder. Then a couple of hours later, said that he had a cortisol shot, which is obviously fluid going into the shoulder. Right. So we're still none the wiser of what is going on with him. We can see he's struggling. He's trying to play through it.
To me, this is the 76ers in a way. It's embarrassing. Not embarrassing, that's not the word. It's just maybe bad luck. I mean, the 76ers have had this for years. Trust the process, obviously, is their slogan going back for the last couple seasons. To put Fultz in, I mean, my thing, have they shut him down right now? I'm not sure. They're talking about actually shutting him down.
Yeah, I mean, he's not playing at the moment, but there's no real knowledge around how long he's actually going to be out for at the moment. I
think, if anything with 76ers fans, they have to be patient. The last few seasons, I've learned that. I think you do shut him down. He's struggling. He's not looking good on the court. His shot is ugly. His foul shooting is ridiculous. One of the ugliest shot I've probably ever seen in my life. So I don't know if that has because of the injury or what, and maybe the 76ers don't know themselves, which is probably a bad sign. But definitely right to sit him. He's a young. I mean, what is he, 19, 20? So you have to. You can't push him while he's hurt.
No, and I think the thing is, I think with Fultz, I think he's kind of like shying away from his shot now. He really knows that he can't take it, and he obviously must be in a lot of pain. Why on earth the Sixers haven't shut him down a lot sooner? I mean, they did that with Simmons. They did that with Embiid. Why so differently with Fultz? Is it because the fact that the Sixers actually believe this year that they can actually contend in the East? So it's a different way of thinking about it. Whereas before it was always like, well, this could be one of the worst teams. We're trying to get a high draft pick. But now they actually feel like in this Eastern Conference, where it is a lot weaker than it has been. You know, the Eastern Conference has tended to be weak, but even more so this year. So they actually want to make a push for a playoff spot, and also looking at Fultz. You know, everything was surrounding Fultz in the summer around the draft. You know, taking him with the trade with the Celtics.
That's right.
So he has become a guy that they've got to kind of rely on. Yeah, okay, Ben Simmons has obviously helped with that because he's played tremendously. Fantastic. But Fultz has to be shut down. They cannot rush this because it could go wrong very, very quickly.
But then I guess maybe if I'm the 76ers, do I want to say we're going to shut him down? You know, all of a sudden the 76ers, you know, here we go again, that kind of thing. But I can see why they don't want to. But yeah, you have to think long term. And these guys, for me, are long-term Kings right now. So the fact they haven't, just stashed them away till Christmas or after Christmas is a bit of a surprise.
Do you know what, Nick? Time will tell.
Very wise words.
Very wise words. I heard them from a wise man once.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so flying over, we're going to go to the Pelicans. So the Twin Tower tandem. We've got DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis. Obviously, DeMarcus is still a free agent at the moment. The transfer deadline window is 20 days earlier this year, so they're running short on time. We saw them out bonding this weekend at a haunted house in Louisiana, which was very amusing. But have they got enough time to be bonding on court?
I personally don't think so. I don't see how this is working. I mean, I think when they brought DeMarcus Cousins in, I think it was an interesting experiment to have these two guys playing together. We call them
worth a try.
It's worth a try.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, two tremendous talents, you know, once in a generation players, but for whatever reason, these two guys can't work together. They kind of don't mesh together on court. Their games don't complement each other whatsoever. So the best way that they can go forward is actually with these two not on the court at the same time, which is not ideal when you've got these two players with this amount of talent. But I think they tried to reenact the Rockets in the mid-'80s. Yeah, Ralph Sampson, Hakeem Olajuwon. It's not going to work like that. I love the bonding session at Halloween. I thought it was tremendously funny. Anyone who hasn't seen it, I would definitely say to watch it because it is brilliant. DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis.
A little tap on the shoulder.
Yeah, very, very scary. But I think, to be honest with you, if they're going to look long term, they've got to look at the fact of Anthony Davis. They've got to get him sorted out, and then they've got to try and move DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, it seems bad to say it, you know, Cousins wore out his welcome in Sacramento. He's not wearing out his welcome in New Orleans, but at the same time, he isn't a part of that future. You've got to move him along because ultimately, if you lose Cousins and you lose Davis, I mean, the Pelicans are being disarray.
Oh, for sure.
Some trouble there.
For sure. But especially, I'm a bit surprised they went for the Twin Towers thing, especially nowadays. Basketball is not, you don't really need a center. Most teams don't play with the big men anymore. So to have two, again, I think it was worth a gamble. So I don't think it'll work, but I did write some stats, some numbers. DeMarcus Cousins this year, he's averaging 30 and 13. Anthony Davis, 27 and 12. I mean, those are huge numbers. So they are they're both getting their you know what they bring to it. They're getting that across. So they are in a way working. May never coming into wins and as a team, but stats wise, I think they are working. But on the court, you can tell something isn't right.
Yeah, and I think we haven't got a coach in play yet that actually knows how to manage these two guys on court, and I think that's the other side of it as well. So I think if you can't have that, and again, if you're going to have an NBA coach in, you get the players in that fit your system.
Correct.
I think it's kind of like trying to fit a square piece into a circle hole, and I just don't see that working, unfortunately. Yeah. And I think, to be perfectly honest, they've got to move Cousins, otherwise they're going to have him walk for nothing. Yeah. They can't afford that. I know they didn't give up that much to get him in the first place, because ultimately Sacramento did just want to get rid of him. Yeah. You know, we heard all about the stuff behind that with Vlade Divac and some of the comments he made. But to be perfectly honest, you've got to get some value for him now. And there are teams out there that are crying out for like a DeMarcus Cousins. Sure. I feel like he'll be able to be the solution to their franchise. Yeah. Move him now and, put all your money behind Anthony Davis.
I'm surprised he's on the team. I mean, when they got him last season, I thought, we'll see how it goes to the playoffs. Obviously, they didn't win anything. So I was a bit surprised he did come back this year. But he's putting up the points. I mean, if you tell me you've got a guy averaging 30 and 13, I'll take that.
Yeah, but then Anthony Davis has been out a couple of those games as well, so he did step up. I mean, he had that big game when he went back to Sacramento as well. That we always expect a player to do that when they go back to a building that they love. So numbers, I'm not saying they're necessarily inflated, but I can see the reasons why those numbers are as high as they are.
Time will tell.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
So I'm removing that saying right now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Obviously, we all have pretty strong predictions of who we're going to be seeing lacing up in June. Mm-hmm. But I want to touch on the here and now, looking at the details. Okay. Mm-hmm. What teams are in your power rankings right now? On what's been going on to date?
For me, okay, the team that is probably I'm putting up there is Orlando Magic. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm putting them almost at the number one team in the league, which I cannot believe I'm even saying that. They've, again, I won't go to my notes, but they've had wins over Memphis, New Orleans, we just mentioned, San Antonio. They do have 2 wins over Brooklyn, so that kind of, anyone could beat them. But I think they're looking fantastic. They're a young team, which I don't think anyone expected them to come out as they have. So for me, I'm going with Orlando.
I don't necessarily know whether I would have them as the number one team in power ranking. Again, they have impressed me. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they are playing incredibly well. But for me, it starts and stops with the Boston Celtics. They're 6-2 now. They've won 6 in a row. Any concerns about them defensively coming into this season? I think that was the one thing that we were saying about that team. Mm-hmm. How are they going to be matched up when it comes to the playoffs? Are they going to have enough defensive players there to be able to help them like they have last season? They're holding the last 6 opponents under 95 points. Right. Kyrie Irving's defense has been phenomenal this year. I mean, last year he had a defensive rating of 109. He's now got that down to 97. Wow. So he's playing a lot better defensively. And I think he has taken on that leadership role. And I think that's something that we didn't quite see in Cleveland. only
why he
when
wanted
LeBron. Yeah, I mean, only
Whereas
when
he was
LeBron
never
was
going to
out.
have the chance. Was
No,
he?
it's LeBron's team,
Yeah.
despite the fact that Kyrie was there first.
Such a great human.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I love Kyrie.
To step aside
Team
for the
Kyrie.
great one. Yeah.
I'm Team Kyrie, yeah. And with Boston going back to that, I mean, this is again all without Hayward. So
Yeah.
I'm impressed with Boston as well. But for me, I would put Orlando up there just because for me they're out of nowhere. It's so much more of a shock.
And look, I do love Brad Stevens as a coach. Phenomenal coach.
He's all right. No, I love him.
So I've saved the most controversial in regards to us three point till last. I'm going to say one word, guys. Hoodies.
Hoodies.
Hoodies. See, Stephen A came out on his show a couple days ago talking about the Nike hoodies that the players are now wearing on the bench. Nike.
So it makes me laugh when I hear Nike.
Depending on whether you're where you're from.
Yep.
Yanks. So I know that we all have different views on this. Stephen A came out, said his piece on his show. He talked about the fact that wearing these hoodies may be making white people feel a certain way and are reminding people of Trayvon Martin. My first point is we should be remembering Trayvon Martin. I'm not sure about it's making people feel a certain way. I mean, like I said, we've all got different views on this, I know. So, over to you guys. I'll let you start.
By all means, Steve. You start.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, I think this has been made a much bigger issue than maybe it should have been. I mean, I think I'm not entirely happy with Stephen A's comments whatsoever. I think for me, he says a lot of things because he wants a reaction.
Agreed.
And I think that this is the reason why he's come out and said this, and this. It's then turned into a situation with J.R. Smith as well. J.R. Smith has kind of then thrown his thing back.
Yep.
Stephen A. Smith has then turned around and said, at the end of the day, I wasn't referring to you. I was just making a general statement around the fact about Nike themselves. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't want to talk about this topic. I really don't. I think to be perfectly honest with you, I think it's one of those things that's been blown out of proportion. And you see me, I'm not wearing a hoodie. I'm not sitting here wearing a hoodie. I can sit here and quite happily talk about the NBA, talk about J.R. Smith, talk about Stephen A. Smith, and I'm not in a hoodie. What are you doing?
Sorry, just we're just discussing our viewpoints on this. So, obviously, I'm for the hoodie. Nick?
I'm hoodie Nick. I don't speak.
You're hoodie Nick. I'm hoodie Tory. Steve.
I'm for the hoodie, but I don't need to wear a hoodie.
See, my point is, I'm going to get logical. I'm going to get technical here. What is the problem with a hoodie? If you're about to go on court, or if you just come off court, a hoodie is going to keep your muscles warm.
Well, according to Nike, it is.
Yeah, and also from the point of view, if you've got people cheering in the background, whatever, put your hood up. I know that I put my hood up if I want to go into the zone, because I can't hear anything. I'm focused.
And I think maybe that is kind of like the issue with it, is the fact, the hoodie's up. What are you focusing on? And I think maybe, that's maybe some of the thought behind Stephen A. Smith. But again, he says things in completely the wrong way. He literally just comes out and says something, and he has got classic foot and mouth disease. Like
telling women not to provoke their men to hit them.
I'm taking off my hoodie.
Yeah, seriously. I would advise anyone not to continue to listen to Stephen A. Smith.
I'm torn on the hoodie thing. I think it went a direction it didn't need to. The whole hoodie thing, I thought, is basically the guys on the bench wearing the hoodies. Without the political and everything else that goes along with it. I don't think they should have hoodies, just for tradition. Yeah, I didn't like them. I don't like them.
It should never become political in the first place.
Yeah,
it's a hoodie.
Yeah, it's a hoodie.
It's literally a hoodie.
And they're on the bench. They're not on the court in a hoodie.
It's true. It is true.
You shouldn't be paying attention to the people on the bench.
No, this is true. But I like tradition. I like tradition. So
I'd love to be in your house for Christmas.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It is an amazing place.
What? Just he wears a hoodie at Christmas?
Yeah.
Just to see the tradition. Just to see the tradition. So that comes to a wrap of this week's show. Obviously, there's been a few topics that have caused a little bit of debate in the studio. So make sure that you catch us next week by subscribing, like this video, and we will see you soon. Bye.
See you later.
You gotta keep your eye on the ball, boys. Check out our latest hoops offer. RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.